Hello and welcome to a Warframe video. In this video, I am going to be presenting a somewhat of a build that I think many people will be happy to actually have. Um, Now, this build is regarding Ember's nerf, which was quite a few days ago, but it's been devastating. Literally one of the most devastating nerfs that has ever been done. It pretty much has made Ember's price drop dramatically over the trade chat, and has also made Ember very unusable in most cases. Now, when it comes to Ember, Ember's ability to essentially clear out low-level missions allow for some players to basically complete low-level missions a lot faster. Even though you can pretty much do that no matter what difficulty they are, just by sprinting around and bullet jumping. But a lot of people really loved using her World on Fire to just clear mobs of enemies. That's basically how you play as her. You basically use her ability to essentially deal damage. Ember is a damage dealer. That's her ability. She deals damage. And ever since her nerf, dealing damage has been a little bit tricky for those, for most people. The way I see it is the damage is fine that Ember deals is still fine. It's just that, you know, the usual builds will not actually work with her. So you just need to tweak her abilities a little bit. That's basically all there is. So I was able to find a build that actually seemed to work out just fine. Nothing too special. Allow me to show it right now. If I go to my builds, I go to my upgrades. So this is the build that I'm using right now. I am using a Orokin reactor. I do have a Exodus adapter unlocked, and I also have my Ember polarized only twice, which is okay. And yeah, I'm using Steel Charge, Power Drift for that extra power, and Intensify. Basically, Power Drift and Intensify are for giving me as much power as possible, and of course, as you would expect, the way to counteract the Ember's nerf, I guess this is a somewhat of anti-nerf build, pretty much. Like, it's a build specifically set into counteracting her nerf. That's basically what it is. So we have some Vitality for survival. These two, which are of course Prime Continuity and Prime Flow, which, you know, makes sense. I have some extra Constitution because I'm using Fleeting Expertise. I'm using a maxed out Fleeting Expertise with Streamline to get that 175% efficiency. And along with efficiency, I still want a decent duration because having extra duration with, what's it called? With energy, time-consuming energy abilities, basically abilities that you can activate on and off. Having energy and efficiency and duration actually helps a lot. So having both of them is a very good idea. I also have one stretch mod just to give her some range, and yeah, I just use these two basically to give her some as much power as possible, as much as power as I can, basically to increase her damage. So now her abilities are all her abilities are pretty much useful, and now obviously the range is it's basically what the fuck it's basically will give her most of her abilities a very decent range. Now her ultimate will decrease in range as her efficiency piles up, but the damage will increase, so that's kind of an advantage that you can actually use. So if I were to fill up my energy over here and activate my World on Fire. So we give it a split second when you after you activate World on Fire. It takes a split second for the timer to start kicking in. You can see the percentage building up as it goes up to 100%, which is where normally your energy would just be drained, like it would be gone by then. Your energy literally would be gone by then. So you can see right now my energy is 100% at 100%, and normally it drains, you know, at maximum. Of course, I also will be dealing double damage. My range is cut in half. My affinity goes down a lot faster, but you can actually see that the affinity levels is not dropping as fast as it normally would be. So the affinity is just dropping by, I would say, like 2 energy per second, which is manageable. And don't forget, you can turn off your power and then turn it on again when you need it to reset the cooldown. So if you wait a little bit, use your ability, and wait until, like, just use the ability, and as soon as it hits 100 is basically when you turn it off. You can basically conserve energy as much as possible. You can get that 100% to deal the extra damage before you turn it off and conserve your energy. And as you can see, it's pretty much taken like what, the 1/10, maybe 15% of my energy bar, which is, a pretty decent considering. Now most people will use Ember to basically clear low level enemies. So obviously that works anyways. You can pretty much do that with any Ember, to be fair. Now there is this all of her abilities, such as the Fire Blast, Accelerant, also work very nicely. Using Accelerant before activating World on Fire is a really good treat, which will increase, of course, your damage. And Fire Blast is actually a very good ability, which I do recommend using. And with the low efficiency, it doesn't really cost that much efficiency to do. You'll create a ring of fire around you, which will basically deal any damage to enemies who step inside, and of course create a huge ring of fire like an Arson Eximus, which will also damage enemies. And if you soak enemies in the Accelerant, it'll basically deal more damage to them. So if I were to fill up my energy over here, we can start simulating. I have like 10 infested chargers over here. So we're going to simulate. What should I simulate? No, I can't simulate a lot of people. So we'll simulate these 10 charges. I have them. They're basically level 30. So we'll start with the base level of 30, which is, I would say, like your Warframe is level 30, you're level 30. This is where things, get, I suppose, interesting. So level 30. What are these guys called? Chargers, infested chargers. Yeah, they're all dead. Before, and you can actually see that I didn't really use my. As soon as I'm finished with the enemies in my surrounding area, I instantly turn it off. That way I conserve energy, because conserving energy, you're always gonna have to conserve that energy now. You just gotta be a little bit more alert with using Ember. That's pretty much all there is to it. And you can actually see that level 30 infested. They were basically, I was able to kill them. So moving a little bit above the level 30 enemies, we'll go to level 50 over here. So there you go, level 50 enemies. So we'll go to level 50 again. Here they come. Use that ability and start dealing damage. Now don't forget, we can also use Accelerant to actually speed up the process of basically dealing damage. But as you can see, I don't really need to. I turn off my power, it's gone, and because everything is already dead. Like, everything basically is already dead. So I can turn it off and conserve my energy. And you can actually see, without actually picking up any energy, my energy is pretty much already maxed out. Of course, well, because of the energy orbs. Now, I am using Zenuric for as my affinity, and the very first power you acquire with the Zenuric is the ability to increase the amount of energy that energy orbs give you. So up to a maximum of 50% that will be given to you within a time after a certain time. And this, of course, means energy orbs will give me more energy when they drop, which allows me to fill up a lot more faster. So I gain more energy for each energy orb that I collect. And of course, there is the Zenuric itself, where you can actually use the circle to basically get energizing dash, which will give you energy per second. And of course, so when I'm turning off my power, when my powers are turned off, I use this to basically fill up while I go to the next enemy group and fill up and basically start using it again. So that's a good way to build up your energy. So moving to enemies over here, we're gonna go to level. So level 50 is where we start sorting level enemies. We're going to let's go to level 100, straight to 100, and just see how long this is. So this is the very top. This is the story level enemies. This is the highest enemies that you'll face in pretty much in a game mode. So we're gonna simulate these level 100s. So using my World on Fire, it actually deals, like, I mean, don't forget, like, the damage will start building up. And this is where I can actually use the Accelerant to basically deal more damage to them and, yeah, pretty much destroy them. So level 100 Chargers, dead. All you have to do is make sure you use your Accelerant at the right time. So there you have it. Well, of course, this is against Infested. Now, against other enemies, such as... we'll start with the Grenier, obviously. We'll go with, let's see, what is the most common enemy? I guess a Butcher is the most common enemy that you'll find. So we'll go with the Butchers. Let's start with a low level. Let's go with level 30. Now keep in mind that Grenier enemies do have armor, and they are essentially kind of resilient towards fire. So they're supposed to take less damage the higher their level. So if we put over here, they're all dead. Level 30 Grenier, of course, they're dead. So you can actually instantly see that, the ability just turns on. And like I showed before, like even with maximum efficiency, my power will drain at a decent level, so to speak. So that's basically what you need. Oh, I didn't realize you were dead. That's okay. I mean, I didn't realize you were alive. Is everyone dead now? Yeah, everyone's dead. So yeah, you can actually see with 100% efficiency, my power still drains, like, it doesn't drain as much as it normally would have. So that's pretty good. And of course, don't forget, you can also turn off your power to, do the damage. Oh, let's use fire now. Oh, I didn't have to. How did he die? Oh, my carrier. Oh, never mind. So, let me see here. You know what? Hang on a second. Let me just remove my carrier because, yeah. I don't want him to be killing things. I want him to, like, do the thing. Okay, so, let's do that. So we'll go to, over here. We'll turn these guys into level 50 as well. Which I guess is like the, I don't know. This is usually the highest level that you'll find in most enemies, with the exception of the, what's it called? The story level missions. So level 50 enemies, they still die. Of course, these are basically like Butchers. I guess I should put like a few Bombardos and a few heavy gunners just to, put the difference in armor there. So let's do that. I'm gonna put one Bombardo and a big gunner. Hang on a second. Where are the regular? No, these are Drakars. So where are the regular heavy gunners? I mean, any heavy gunner is essentially a heavy gunner, right? So you just use any heavy gunner. So here we go. So let's do that again. Level 50 enemies, just to get a nice little concept. Oh, there's some over there. They spawn over there. That's why it's like that. Oh, okay. So we'll put that on. Dealing damage, as you would expect. Now, the more my percentage increases, the more damage I'll be dealing. So this is actually very good to build up and use for like the higher level enemies, like the Grenier. So you can actually see here, this is where these guys have the highest armor. So this is where using Accelerant comes in handy, because obviously they'll be taking a lot more damage if you like use that. And don't forget to also use a very good weapon, which will also deal some damage to them, obviously. I'm using the Strong Wrath, which I really, really like. So, yeah. This will also do the job. So, there you go. So, of course, then again, I don't really use Ember to clear out the strongest enemies. I use her to clear out the weakest enemies, allowing my allies to focus on the strongest enemies. Basically, that's how I normally would use her. But, I mean, killing everything is still, a bonus. So, and after that, we'll go with the level 100 ones. Corpus, nobody really cares about the Corpus, pretty much. Mostly because of those damn nullifiers. They're a pain in the ass, so nobody really fights against them, but I mean, it kind of works the same way. If you are able to remove their shields, obviously if you use like a magnetic weapon, remove their shields, they're pretty much, yeah, you can pretty much ravage their health. So it's you know, it's not that big of a deal. So we're gonna fight against the level 100 ones. Turn on the World on Fire. Damage still is like, you know, it deals a decent amount of damage, and we're gonna use Accelerant immediately just to wipe them out. Use this one over here. Damage increases. We have some fire over here. And yeah, so obviously at level 100, the armor that these guys actually have is insanely high, which is why you would need like an armor stripper to basically strip their armor a little bit, or kill them immediately. Now, obviously, with Ember's World on Fire dealing that constant fire damage, you have all the amount of well, you have a steady supply of fire damage being dealt. So, Condition Overload on your melee weapons will obviously, you know, stack on Condition Overload, giving you that extra 60% damage. So you can also do that, and of course, using a gun like the Strong Wrath that I use. Which is status built. It's built for It's built with a decent status. It's polarized twice. Built with mostly status. I have a 100% status on it, and obviously I have heat right now. But obviously, if I were to remove heat and place, I don't know, cold damage, I'll be doing like cold damage, the corrosive damage, and I'll also be doing the fire damage from Ember. So obviously we have multiple elements there going on. So yeah, that actually works very nicely. And also, if you do use Condition Overload on your weapon, which will obviously give you which will give you the extra 60% melee. Obviously, not doing some extra effects and stuff. You can actually like stack it with Ember's World on Fire, so you'll have that extra 60%. You'll have immediately an extra 60% melee damage as soon as your World on Fire touches enemies. And on top of that, what's the word that I was looking for? Ember's World on Fire at 100%. When it reaches at 100%, you will be doing double damage at closer ranges, so you'll have that little extra buff for that, for dealing enemies quickly with when they're in melee. So yeah. So so this is the Ember build that I use when I play as Ember. It's it's not built for power or super range or anything. It's literally built to counteract her nerf. That's basically what it's built for, while still being useful at a decent level. So yeah, this is my Ember build. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. I hope this kind of like counteracts Ember's nerf. And yeah, it's a very basic build. Anybody can actually figure it out. It's not really that big. I just wanted to share it with people who may not, not know. So yeah, thank you for watching. Stay cool, and I'll see you later. Bye.